The Star-Spangled Banner is an old song, and it's one that we've all heard 1,000 times or more. So I'll spare you the tedium of reciting it in its entirety tonight. I do, however, feel that the last two lines of the song deserve a bit of closer scrutiny. O'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. I ask you earnestly, are we free? Is the current state of American justice what you think of as freedom?
No.
Police brutality is rampant. Taxation is confiscatory. Victimless vices are criminalized. And the United States has the highest incarceration rate in the history of the world. We're not free. To claim that we are is to mock the very concept of freedom itself. My father was a history buff and a passionate scholar of the Revolutionary War. As children, he would regale my brothers and I with tales of the Minutemen. He greatly admired their willingness to drop everything and take up the fight against tyranny at a moment's notice. These were not crazed lone gunmen, nor were they sycophants with nothing to lose. These were men with families, children, jobs, men with honor and respect in their communities. But they were also men who realized that none of their assets or relationships accounted for much if they were unable to choose their own destiny. I've got another earnest question for you, but I don't want you to answer it now. Instead, I want each of you to go home tonight, look in the mirror, and ask yourself, am I brave? I want you to ask yourself what you'd be willing to do, what you'd be willing to risk in order to make the world a better place for your children. Would you be willing to risk your reputation, your career, your safety? What about your life? I want you to ask yourself what it is that makes you think that your situation is so different than that of our revolutionary forefathers who were willing to sacrifice everything they knew and loved in an attempt to free themselves and their descendants from oppression. Don't get me wrong. I want you to vote for me next month. But I also want you to open your eyes and realize that we will not vote our way out of tyranny. I want you to recognize that you will not free yourself from oppression by posting memes on social media, putting a sign in your yard, or a sticker on your bumper. I want you to accept that with great change always comes great uncertainty, and I want you to acknowledge that you cannot be courageous without being willing to face danger. In closing, I'd like to share with you a quote from one of those same unabashed revolutionaries I mentioned earlier. If you love wealth more than liberty, the tranquility of servitude better than the animating contests of freedom, go forth from us in peace. We seek not your counsels or your arms. Bend down and lick the hands that feed you. May your chains rest lightly upon you, and may posterity forget that you were our countrymen. Thank you.